whoops, using the feeler gauge back here to line up the prop shaft, because the force from the propeller moving the boat forward is transferred right up the shaft to the transmission. So it's really important that the transmission be bolted securely, solidly, and that there be no misalignment, because just even the tiniest bit off of these mating surfaces right here, and it will cause excessive wear and it will start to leak water through the seal, and it's just that you can't have that. That's a good way to sink your boat, right? So it's real critical. It's got to be lined up. I've been up here for like 7 days, I think. I'm losing track of time, trying to get the thing together, and I'd get it so close. I'd get it within just a gnat's ass, and like it wouldn't quite line up right. Probably because it wasn't using. I had several different motor mount setups over the last week, and I just work on it until I collapsed basically and go pass out. But so what was I saying? Haven't made a video in a while. Well, I've made videos, I haven't uploaded any, but I'll try and upload this one. Yeah, so I had several different motor mount arrangements going, and I had all the bolts in at one point in time. Like several times I've had all 4 bolts in, but I haven't been able to put them all in static, meaning without having to turn the propeller shaft as I put the bolts in to get them to start and take. And the bolts fit like very, very snugly. This thing's got to be lined up on the gnat's ass, or you'll get 2 to 3 of the bolts started, but the 4th one just won't go unless it's perfect. And it's got to be perfect anyway, so I'm just flailing away on this thing for days with different setups and figuring out, okay, that's not strong enough, and then the next one I'm like, that's not going to give me the amount of adjustment I need, and then the next one, and this one's pretty good, even though it looks a little janky up here. It's a solid motherfucker. I mean, this is into the steel plate with this eye bolt. Where's my finger? There it is. Okay. And it's holding the piece of stainless unistrut. The unistrut's into this eye bolt. This eye bolt's going up around the lump of the engine block there where it comes out. There's a little knob sticking out. And the inside of the eye bolt, I cut and put a piece of marine pipe or hose in there. This stuff right here, which is some pretty stout shit, and that way it has some vibration dampening properties, and that's what the washer is, and bolted it on, and then it works really well. They're solid. I mean, that's solid as hell. I did have it originally a piece of plate over the top here, but there wasn't enough thread, because see, this thing runs out of threads right there. If it was threaded all the way up here, I probably wouldn't be messing with it still, because that would have been just fine. But yeah, so, and this here was looking great, except that the width was too wide. Not so much this one, because this is the one that I ground down. This was for the other side. The other side, just no matter what, it was going to have to be cut right out to the edge in order to fit that in. And then I thought, well, I could grind these, or hack them or something, but I didn't. And I went and got a new blade. I probably could now. However, I decided that I was going to take matters into my own hands and quit trying to reuse parts in different ways from other things. And I remember seeing these at Lowe's, 3/4 tin threaded shaft. And so let's see, how does it look like it might work? I'm going to figure a mounting point for the bottom, maybe in a piece of plate steel with a nut locked to it. But either way, bottom line is, I'm going to have more adjustment than I need, and that's good. Hey, and here comes the airplane. You know, that's one of the things that's been making it take so long is my Morgellons. It's like my ears ring continuously up here. And my wrists start throbbing because I'm saying that because here comes the airplane now. And my wrist throbbing is so minor compared to what it used to be. I mean, it used to be my entire, you know, wrist from here to here would turn dark gray and start throbbing, and my temples would, the sides of my head would be doing it and all that shit, and ringing in the ears and the headache, and then it felt like a burning hot skewer was being stabbed into my wrist, and that's been for the last week. That's been actually happening, right where that little red lump thing is there. It's like the skin builds up there, and you can kind of see the speckling, all those white speckles. That's the shit under my skin. One of the forms of it. It's got several forms. There's like a. I'm not going to go into Morgellons right now, but I've been dealing with Morgellons continuously in microwaves and all that good stuff. Thanks, Mr. 5G. And airplane after airplane, just like in Vancouver, just like in Missoula, just like in Spokane, just like in Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, just like in Ellensburg, just like in, you know, across from Seattle here. So there's a lot of town here. The airplanes seem to do big loops over the whole area. And they're not as frequent as they are in Vancouver, because Portland and Vancouver is a smaller area, I guess. But I digress. Back to the boat. So that's my new plan is to get these, and I've got some hardware to go with it. Washers, extra nuts, in case I got to lock it to both sides of the steel, because I don't have a tap that's this size, and I wasn't going to spend the money to buy one right now. It's a lot. However, I think with all of this crap, I should be able to make something work here. And I can't slip it in there because the turbo's in the way. I'm going to have to loosen the motor mount. You know. But yeah. And then I'll have all the threaded adjustment I need, and there's no width issues because this can go anywhere it needs to go, left to right. I lock it down into place through the steel plate, and it is solidly mounted. There's no freaking way this engine can move, or the transmission is going to have an issue with the forces once it is solidly in place. Yeah. And it's a mess in here. Oh my goodness. But I clean it up every once in a while. The guy I got it from seemed to have, he was painting in here, but he just painted everything white. And it's kind of a latex paint, I think, almost. Because it comes off fairly easy, but not all the way. But I mean, it's like painted over the teak floors, and I'm going to clean that back off so I can see the wood. That's beautiful wood. You know, one thing that made me a little nervous here was down here. Let's see here if you can see that hose right there. It goes straight to the bottom where there's water. And it had a valve on it, but the valve was in the wrong place and came up too high for this motor. It was fine with the MD7A because of the shape of the motor and stuff, but this one had to be moved. So before I put the motor in, I'm in here. It was making me nervous. So I had to undo the valve and put my finger over the hole, and I'm just like, you know, I can't imagine it's all this, you know, massive pressure is going to come flying in here, and you know, I won't be able to hold the water. I knew that wouldn't happen, but I'd never done it before, so like, oh man, is this thing gonna, like, you know, is the valve gonna break in a weird way and I can't plug it very easily, or there's water going to just come blasting in from the weight of the boat sitting in the water, and, you know, but that's not gonna happen. The water line is probably like right about there. I mean, it's sitting real high right now. These boats have good reviews, and it's got good solid hardware on it, even though it's old and crusty. I'm going to do a little repair work to the wood back here and the supports for the back deck, and replace a few hoses. And my issue right now is those valves. Those ones, not those ones so much as the one for the sink drain. It won't turn, and it's crusted, stuck. So I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, anyway, so that's my video. I'm making my own motor mounts, front and rears. Like, screw it with all this BS. I'm going to just go for a little overkill on it. You can't have enough overkill when keeping your sailboat motor in place. As long as you're not putting, hundreds of pounds of steel in there. Okay, well, there's my second video. It was supposed to be one video, but I accidentally stopped it. I might make a time lapse too, some of it, of the lining the shaft. I don't know. I was thinking about it before, but I knew I wasn't close enough that it would be a wasted effort because it became too much of a challenge for me, apparently. So yeah, keep on keeping on. Don't let the COVIDs get you. And you might want to invest in some shielding of some sort. I don't have my copper in my hat right now, but I wish I did. I had a big copper bracelet I made, actually, for my wrist, because it felt like the burning hot skewer being stabbed through my wrist. That was preventing me from working, and because it hurt so much, along with my headache, ringing ears, throbbing temples, and every joint aching like I've got arthritis everywhere. And my sides of my head, temples swelling up, you know what I mean. Having to sizzle the stuff off. Sizzle, crackle, weird smoky vapors flying out of here. But at least there's no one here to, like, bothered by it. Yeah, it looks like a soup can. This was the sides of a potting dish I made. It took on some color too. The insides look kind of browny looking and shiny on the out. From the reaction, like, my wrists were quite green the other day. When it starts, plane coming now, it's starting to itch right here. It's non-stop here this last week. Just, there's a bass line ringing in my ears that goes on, but then every time a plane comes by, it gets worse, and the other physical symptoms of Morgellons jump out like this here. See my wrist? You can probably see it's throbbing right there above the shadow line, and it's swollen. Oh, there's the vein starting to bulge. But it's nothing like it was a few years ago. A few years ago, like, my vein would look like a freaking rope cord going around my arm, and I could feel it in my neck. It was like causing me to, like, not get oxygen supply or something. Probably right up in the camera there. Anyway, hopefully I didn't swing the camera. I'm sure I moved the camera all over, and it's annoying to watch. So feel free to just not watch when it's all shaky and stuff. I'm a little frazzled right now, but I'm going to make an attempt at putting this stuff together. And yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Alright guys, take care, and don't let the COVIDs get you, like I said.